Hannah coming to you from the Beehive. Today I'm going to show you how to make 2 easy cards using the Balloon Bash stamp set and the Birthday Bash paper. And you can find these products on page 13 at 12 and 13 of the New Occasions mini catalog. And the stamp set we're going to be using is right here. It's a photopolymer, so it makes placement really easy. And we're also going to be using this paper down at the bottom of the catalog right here called the Birthday Bash specialty paper. And that will allow us to make some cute cards, but they'll also be quick. And so these are the cards that I created using that stamp set. Just kind of a simple balloon motif and a little bit of designer paper. And this one, that's like a birthday cake, and it's got some glitzy gold candle tips there. And if you stick around and check back with me in a couple of days, I'm also going to show you how to create a cute little insert to put a gift card in the center of these cards. So I'm going to make these cards not only easy, but we're going to make them very useful for gift cards. Okay, so let me get started. We're going to start off by making this balloon one. And you're going to need a piece of Whisper White cardstock that is 5.5 by 4.25 inches. And we're going to start off with the Bermuda Bay ink pad. Open that up. And I'm going to take this balloon right here that has Yay on it. And I'm going to ink that up. Make sure you can really see through these photopolymers to make sure that they're all inked up. And then I'm going to stamp it somewhat close to the top over here on the left side because we want to leave room for the other balloons, and maybe right about there. Just hold it down for a second so the ink can make contact with the paper. I'll lift it off, and you can put your Bermuda Bay aside for a moment. And then I'm going to bring in Tangelo Twist ink pad, and I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to ink up. This balloon is the one with the stars on it. Okay, and I hit my ink pad right there, so I'm just going to take a tissue and just going to clean that off, just in case it wants to hit my cardstock and leave a mark. So that's going to prevent that, hopefully. I'm going to bring this fairly in close to the Yay balloon, but just a little bit below it. And again, just leave it on there for a few seconds. I'm giving some pressure, but I'm not tilting it too much. Then lift off. And then we're going to take, finally, we're going to take Crushed Curry and the Stripe balloon, and we're going to ink this up. Okay, and again, I've hit a little ink on the edge of my ink pad here. And so I'm just going to clean it off, and then I'm going to put him or her, kind of just beside the Tangelo balloon, but maybe a little bit below the Bermuda Bay balloon, and just stamp it down like that. So then we set that aside, and I am going to put this piece. This is a strip of the Designer Series paper from that paper that I showed you, and I have cut this piece to 5.5 inches by 1 inch, and that's going to sit right about there. Okay, and so I'm going to bring back my Bermuda Bay ink pad, and I'm just going to show you, so I didn't have a really tiny little greeting to put down there because the stamps in that stamp set are quite large. I'll just bring back, this is the case for the stamp set. These are actually shown reduced on the cover here because they're actually quite a bit larger than that. So I have this, took this photopolymer stamp, the one that has HB on it and Happy Birthday beneath. And I don't know if you can see that very well. Maybe maybe underneath my ink pad. Anyway, those two pieces came together, and what I did was I just snipped off the hashtag happy birthday on the bottom and took it right off, because the neat thing about photopolymer is if you wanted to stamp it together again, you just piece it back together and stick it on a block, and no one will ever know that you cut it apart. But there was plenty of room in between the two stamps to cut them apart. So I did, because it makes stamping a little bit easier. I'm going to take the skinny block right here and just put it on like that. Okay, and then I'm going to ink this up in Bermuda Bay again. And I'm going to stamp this. I wanted to put the strip of paper here first because it makes it easier for me to line it up and stamp it. Okay, so then all you have to do, put that aside, is just take this. I'm taking some Tombow glue. See if I can get this to run. The first time you use it for the day, sometimes it takes a little while, or sometimes you need to take like a piercer or a toothpick and open it up again. So I just put some glue on the back of this paper, and I'm just going to put it right above my little greeting right there, not to block it off. Okay. There we go. And I think it just needs one other little thing. It needs a little bit of a bow or something to make it a little bit more festive. And I've got a piece of taffeta here, and I've cut it to about 10 inches. This is a Bermuda Bay to match our balloon. And I'm going to do the bunny ear method. So bunny ear method for tying a bow just means you're taking 2 loops and you're tying the loops together into a knot. And then just straighten out your bow and the loops until you're happy with it. And I'm going to take, these are mini glue dots. I'm just going to take one. I'm using my piercer to lift it off so that I have control over where it gets placed. And I'm going to put it right below my Tangelo balloon. And I can stick my bow right on there. Then you can come in and just trim off the edges. And then this needs a card base. I don't really recommend our regular Whisper White cardstock as a card base because it's a little thinner than our regular cardstock. So what I did is I cut a card base. So you just take half a sheet of cardstock, which would be 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and I scored it in half at the 4.25 inch mark. So now I have a card base, and all I need to do is adhere that to my card base. So I'm just going to take I'm going to take a little bit of this glue. I learned a new saying today. I don't know who did this, but they say with this Tombow glue, a dot is a lot. So the lines I'm putting on here are very, very skinny. Tombow holds really, really well, so you don't really want to overdo it with the glue because then it gets kind of globby and sometimes will ooze out the side. So I'm just trying to line that up with my bottom. Okay. All right, and there you go, card number 1, pretty easy. Okay, let's move along to card number 2. And so for card number 2, you're also going to need a piece of cardstock that is 5.5 by 4.25. And then on one of the 4.25 inch sides, I'm going to make a mark. I just need a mark to show me where halfway is on this card. So on one of the short sides, halfway across is 2 1/8 inches. So I'm just going to make a little pencil mark because it's going to make lining things up a lot easier. And I have shifted that mark to the top of my cardstock here. And then I'm going to bring in my Bermuda Bay ink pad again. And I'm going to bring in the candle stamp. So The candle stamp is up here in the corner, and it actually comes with this greeting down at the bottom, light 'em up. And again, there was enough room, so I chopped these two, the candles and the greetings, I chopped them apart. So right now they're sitting on two different blocks. And so I'm just going to use the candles right now. And I'm going to ink these guys up. Make sure that I've got good coverage with my ink. And so since there's 5 candles here, I'm going to aim the middle candle towards my pencil mark that's up top here. So I want this fairly close to the top. And I'm just going to make sure that middle candle is kind of right underneath the pencil mark. And then I'll know everything, then I'll know all my candles are in the center. And there you go. And then I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to do something with the candles right now to add some gold to them. And this is the Gold Glitz Dazzling Details. It's like gold glitter glue. And I'm going to take this and I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to squeeze. Oop, that is too much. So grab another tissue. Just want enough to cover the blue candle flame. Just want to cover that up so that way I don't have to worry about stamping that in 2 different colors, and it gives a little sparkle. So when you're doing this, you may want to leave this to the very last. Once you have your card all done up, then hit it with glue, because you'll probably want to set this aside for about an hour at least to make sure it's dry. You don't want to touch it until then because it will be a real mess. But this is not time that you actually have to sit and babysit it. It can just set aside. So it actually is a quick card. So in the interest of time, I actually have already got one ready to go. These ones are already dry. And then I'm going to bring in my pieces of cake. And so there's 3 pieces that you're going to need. And I've cut this one to 3.5 inches by 1 1/4 inches. That one will go there. The next piece is 2 3/4 inches by 1 1/4 inches. That one will go there. And the last one is 2 inches by 1 1/4 inch. So all you have to do is then just adhere these to your card base. So I'm just going to take the first one. I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow on the back here. And for this one, I want it centered on the bottom and the sides. So make sure they're about equal distance from the bottom and the 2 sides. And then you'll be centered and you'll have enough room for the candles, okay? And then I'm going to take my middle piece, put some Tombow on it, and we can put that about there. So I'm just centering it on the bottom piece. And then finally, this last piece, put a little Tombow on it. And I'm going to come in and put this on there. Center it on that middle layer. Set this aside for a second. I'm going to open up my Calypso Coral ink pad. And I'm going to take the greeting, light 'em up, and ink it up. I'm going to stamp it. This is a scrap piece of Whisper White. And I have just stamped that. And then I'm going to take my word window punch, hover it over top, punch it. And then I can put some Tombow on the back of it, just a little bit. And then I can center this on that top layer of cake. Okay, and I think it needs just like one more embellishment. So I love this Calypso Coral pom-pom trim. It's kind of cool. So what you can do is you can use it kind of as a direct decoration for the cake. So I'm going to cut off this little knobby end, or the string end. That can go away. And I need about 5 of them to get across the bottom here. Actually, you know, they're actually not spaced 100% equally. So let me look. This one I think would do well for the 4. So I'll do that one first because that 5th one was a little long. So that one will do nicely for the 4. Let me do, I need 5 pom-poms for the bottom layer. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's a little longer than the first one I had because some of them are more stretched out. So I guess what you can either do is you can either kind of just like let them kind of loop down, which is a cute look, or you can cut yourself another piece and then you can have like a different kind of look. But I actually kind of like the way that looks. It's a little different than my first one, which was all the way stretched out, but I think we can make it work. So how do I get these attached? So I grab my mini glue dots again, and I'm going to grab my piercing tool. And let's start off with the bottom one. And I'm just going to put my pom-poms right above where they would be sticking. So, and I'm going to again take my piercing tool, and I'm going to put a dot below each of the pom-poms as they appear right here, and then I'm going to move them over in a second. So that looks about good. And so I'm actually not going to be sticking down the string part. I'm just going to be sticking down the pom-poms. So I'm going to just grab this and stick them on the pom-poms like that. Isn't that cute? Okay, I'm going to do the same for the 4 up top here. I think this would be a little easier than using other adhesive because it's quite quick if you use your piercing tool. Oh, okay, I have lost my glue dot. There it is. Okay, just put that right below. And one more. Stick. All right. So now I'm just going to move my pom-poms over those dots that I just stuck down. Did I lose my glue dot there? I did. Where did it go? All right. I'm going to bring another glue dot in. I'm not going to go looking for it at this point. But let's stick it down like that. Like that. Perfect. Okay, and then we just need a card base, because again, this Whisper White is a little too thin to cut a card base out of. And don't forget, you'll need to erase your pencil mark. But this card base, I've cut it kind of a tent fold. So I've cut my card stock to 11 inches by 4 1/4, and then I've scored it in half at the 5 1/2 inch mark. Okay, so it's going to be like a tent fold that opens from the bottom rather than from the side. So let's just go ahead and put some Tombow on my card base. Okay. And then put my card on here. You have a few seconds to get your card on there. So it's centered. Should cover the entire front. I just want to make sure it's lined up at the bottom. Okay. There we go. And so we have like, here, I'll bring this one back in that's already dry. So you've got 2 really cute cards that you can use for birthdays. And remember, please check back in a couple of days where I'll have, I'm going to show you how to make a cute gift card insert for these particular cards. And all the supplies you'll need to make these cards will be available for purchase on my blog. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Bye for now.